Hey YouTube, welcome again to my channel Tyrannosaurus. It's me, Promethea. Today I'm going to be answering another question. It also came through my Portuguese channel. And the question is whether I think that Uruguay or Brazil is better in terms of discrimination. The question is asked by a Brazilian transgender person, but I cannot quite tell from their name or either the drawing that they put on the profile pic if they are a trans man or a trans woman, and that makes a difference. Generally speaking, transgender men are safer than trans women. Firstly, because they are men, and second, because if they don't pass and they are not open about the fact that they are trans, they are perceived as butch women, and while not everybody likes that, and of course they also suffer a number of problems and are discriminated against, it seems to be not so bad as being a trans person. So it is generally safer for them. Now I don't know either where in Brazil they are, whether it's better or worse than Uruguay. Also depends on which part of Brazil we're talking about, because Brazil is half a continent. It's a huge, very diverse country. So the answer is not going to be the same if we're talking about Sao Paulo or if we're talking about Espírito Santo. I don't know all of Brazil. I only knew a few states. I know Sao Paulo, I know Rio, I know Bahia, and I know Pernambuco. And only in Pernambuco I was presenting as a woman. Already before that I was presenting in a kind of gender non-conforming way, but of course it's not the same. I never suffered any type of discrimination at all during that first period of time. I only stayed in Sao Paulo for a few days, and the only thing was a small child telling their parents, "Oh look, that's a man-woman." And I found it quite amusing, really. But I only stayed there for 3 days. And now other people have told me that Sao Paulo, being a cosmopolitan city, is generally quite accepting of all the diversity of people. Other people don't feel the same way, but I think it's safe to believe that probably is one of the best cities in the country to be as a transgender person. Then Rio is supposed to be quite unsafe for us, unfortunately, regardless of what the carnival may lead us to believe. Then I don't know much about Bahia. For me, both Salvador and the Chapada Diamantina were absolutely fine, but then when I went to Pernambuco, that's where I felt comfortable enough to transition and start presenting full-time as a woman. And I also think that Olinda, which is where I was, is a good place to be as a trans person. There are a few factors in that. One of them is that it's a very bohemian city. It's full of artists and foreigners and crazy people, so really nobody cared about me. I mean, some people did, of course, some people would stare at me, some people would yell stuff at me, but I never felt unsafe walking alone at night. Now Recife is a different story. I wouldn't go out at night in Recife alone, but that's not necessarily for the fact of being trans. It's quite unsafe for everybody, really. People usually say that the Northeast is where people are the more conservative and the more discriminatory against LGBT people, but I find that that's actually not the case. It's the area of the country with the most black population. And there is a whole movement going on of mostly younger black people being proud about their race and their culture and celebrating it. And they are intelligent people in that they are not going to do to others what was done to them until quite recently. And they are a very diverse crowd, and they're very open to people from other places, or gay people, lesbian, trans people, non-binary people. Everybody's welcome in that crowd, and that affects the whole environment. That movement was particularly important in Pernambuco and in Olinda. Of course, some black people in there are evangelicals, and that's a whole different story, which I find quite hypocritical, because they discriminate against LGBT people based on some texts in the Bible that are the same texts that say slavery is allowed. And to those people I say, okay, that's what you believe in, then go find some master to serve. It's very hypocritical. And it's also ignorant of their own religion, because those are the texts that in the New Testament Jesus Christ said, you know, that doesn't go anymore. We have new rules now. But it's not even everybody that is like that, mind you. I am making a broad generalization here. Of course, not everybody that is an evangelical, whether black or white, believes that. My best friend in Olinda, Tita, she is black, she is evangelical, and one of her nieces is a lesbian, and her parents didn't talk to her, and Tita was the one that talked to her sister and the father of the girl and re-established their relationship. And that's very commendable. But generally speaking, I think that that part of the country is a safe place to be trans. But I cannot really answer whether Uruguay or Brazil are better in that regards, because Uruguay has 3 million people, Brazil has, I think, like 120 million people. So really, if you don't feel safe where you are, it's good to go somewhere else. It doesn't necessarily have to be another country, but if you want to leave the country, Uruguay may not be worse, but it's not better. Go somewhere else. You know, the decision is yours. I cannot make it for you, but those are my feelings on it. And well, I would like to hear from all of you, also people living in other countries. I have described the situation in Uruguay in the past, so I would like you to tell me if you think that where you live is better or worse than Uruguay in regards to discrimination against trans people. So please tell me in the comments. You can also leave me your questions for future videos there in the comments, or on Tumblr, Facebook, Twitter, and Ask FM. And well, see you again this week. Bye bye!